Hello boys and girls, and welcome to this week's assembly. Now, I started with a picture today and a question. Who is this special lady? Do any of you recognise her? That's right, I know all of year 2 and probably at least a quarter of the school are shouting at the screen, "It's Rosa Parks, it's Rosa Parks!" And you'd be absolutely right. It's Rosa Parks, who we all know as one of our faces of our houses. Now, you may not know this, but the 4th of February was Rosa Parks' birthday. She was born in 1913. I wonder if any of you can do a quick bit of mental maths and tell me how old that would have made her if she was still alive. That's right, she would have been 108 last week. Now, let's spend a few minutes finding out a bit more about Rosa. I know these will be familiar to you. They are, of course, our mirror values of motivation, independence, resilience, responsibility, open-mindedness and respectful. And when I was thinking about Rosa Parks, I decided there was no one better whose life, story and personality better represented our mirror values.
It was December 1st, 1955. I don't know why it happened on this day. It was a day like any other. It had been a long day at work, and I was eager to get home, take off my shoes, and rub my feet. It was a day like any other. I didn't know when I boarded the bus that afternoon that I was going to do what I did. I took my seat in the row behind the white people's seats. The white rows were full when another white lady boarded the bus. I stayed put. I felt myself rooted to the spot just like a tree. Somehow, in that moment, I'd made up my mind. The white people in front of me tutted and shook their heads. I felt the black people behind me sit up a little straighter, keen to see what would happen next. The bus driver left his seat. But still, I didn't budge. Somehow, I'd made up my mind. The white people in front of me tutted and shook their heads. I felt the black people behind me lean forward to see who it was that had dared to disobey the rules. The police came, but still, I didn't budge. I'd never made a fuss before. I'd never broken any rule, let alone been arrested. But somehow, I'd made up my mind. People said afterwards that I refused to give up my seat because I was tired. True, it had been a long day and my body ached. But that's not why I refused to stand. No. The only tired I was tired of giving in. Tired of being treated differently like a second-class citizen on account of the color of my skin. Everyone else I knew was tired of it too. It was just, we didn't know what to do about it. My little act of defiance, my refusal to give in, it was a small thing to do. I just wanted, for once, to be able to sit where I sat and to not have to give up my seat to someone else just because she was white. It was a small thing to do, but it was what happened afterwards that really mattered. Without knowing it, I'd started something. That very evening, news of my tiny protest got around. People got together and called anyone they could think of. They wanted everyone to know what I had done. It was as if they'd all been waiting for a chance to do something. And my simple refusal to stand up on a bus one afternoon had given them that chance. Plans started to form for a bus boycott. The idea was that on the Monday when my case would go to court, all the black people in Montgomery should walk to work and refuse to take the bus. That way, the bus company would lose money. And that way, people would see that I wasn't the only one who was tired of giving in, tired of being treated badly.
So, Rosa Parks was arrested for nothing more than not giving up her seat on the bus. She was tired after a long day at work, and she knew that everyone should be equal, that it was not fair that she had to give up her seat for a white person. In doing this, Rosa demonstrated our Vigo value of motivation, because she knew that she wanted to make things better. She wanted to make everyone equal. And resilience. It would have been easier for her to have stood up and given her seat up, but she didn't want to. She kept on going when things were tough. Thousands of people joined Rosa with her bus boycott, first in Montgomery where she lived, and then all over America. Marches were organised against segregation, and they became known as the Civil Rights Movement. This was a movement that demanded the same rights for all people, no matter what your colour of your skin was. Boys and girls, this reminds me of the assembly I did for you last week, where I reminded you of anti-bullying and about being an upstander, not a bystander. All these thousands of people who turned out to the bus boycotts, they were upstanders because they knew what was going on was not right. And in doing that, they showed our Vigo values of being respectful to other people and to be open-minded, that they could see and feel how other people were living and feeling. For the rest of her life, Rosa was a figurehead or a symbol for the civil rights movement. Her one simple act of defiance inspired millions of others to take a stand against unfairness too. And in doing this, she showed our Vigo values of being independent and being responsible. The world is very different today, but there are still many, many things that are unfair. Boys and girls, if you ever experience something that's unfair and you wonder what to do, remember the story of Rosa Parks and her famous bus journey and think, what would Rosa do? Be an upstander, not a bystander. Boys and girls, my challenge for you this week is to be a bit more Rosa. Which of our Vigo values are you going to focus on? See you next week.